I used to watch a lot of red pill video back when Rollo and Alpha Strategy were dropping knowledge on YouTube that it just seems like the holy grail at the time. To us back then, it seemed like knowledge we were not supposed to know. It was just almost revolutionary. But now I don't like red pill anymore.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
Because it's turning into what red pill taught me to fight against: toxic feminists.
See, I like that,
far
Tara.
too much. Well,
I like that.
As a
I
mother
think
of
that
a
men
teenage
should be
boy, I
frightened.
don't like.
To me, red pill has turned into a matrix inside the matrix because it's become a toxic echo chamber. That's how I feel. And I already know some die-hard red pill people right now are ready to defend it without even listening to what I have to say, because to them, red pill is everything. Without red pill, their life is meaningless. And people like that are the reason why red pill will continue to get worse. Because sometimes I think I don't even have much of an issue with red pill. I just have an issue with how some people in red pill handle adversity, handle conflict, handle a discussion. And to me, the hypocrisy is just sad to watch. Keep in mind, we're talking about grown men. I'm in my early 30s and I have a discussion about red pill or woman with a grown man almost about my age, and I'm just kind of embarrassed. See, they're making it hard for decent guys like us because everybody thinks we're all the same way they think all women are evil creatures who will steal the money they don't have. It's funny because as I was making this video, someone replied to one of my community posts and it confirmed to me that I made the right choice by leaving red pill. And the post said, if you want a healthy relationship, don't listen to people who are not in healthy relationship. And I just added a comment. It said, it's just common sense. And we have this lovely gentleman over here who replies,
how many people are in healthy relationship? It's just female using men because of status and because men can provide money. Don't give female anything, cut her off, and you will see if she's still the same towards you.
Give or take, I've made it easier for you because what he wrote is just nonsense, but I just kind of translated what I thought he was saying. And I just replied, you're watching too much red pill, brother. Because seriously, how did we get here? It just feels like red pill is going on a whole Anakin Skywalker villain arc right now, going from good to evil. Because reasons. See, the idea of red pill was simple and it went like this. Men and boys are suffering. Feminism is not about equality anymore and the government is using all of us. As men, we need to wake up from the matrix and do better. It was that simple. At least that's what I think from what I understood from red pill. But that message doesn't get a lot of views and money anymore because the die-hard red pill audience, the one who've been watching red pill forever, they want more drama. It's hard to satisfy an empty soul. And it's crazy because when I was younger, I was 100% convinced that red pill was giving me the best relationship advice. Granted, there were few advice red pill gave me that I still apply to my life to this day. Again, my idea is not that red pill is this thing that's super toxic or whatever. To me, it's pretty much like feminism. It started good and eventually it just became nonsense. I still remember watching Alpha Strategy. I still remember watching Rollo. And way before Far From Average fell from grace and it just fell off, I used to watch almost all their video at the time. What can I say? Your boy was a man of culture. Here's the thing. This year I started looking back and I'm feeling like something is off. And I think I'm lucky because I got out of red pill last year. And before that, I was kind of on and off. I would watch red pill for about a month and then I wouldn't even go back for another 6 months or so. But eventually I just stopped. I started to feel weird about red pill. It was just this empty feeling, like something was missing, which it might be part of growing as a man. I don't know. But what I know for sure is that I always wanted to be a quality man. And to some people that might be like, what is that? Like, what does, that's something that you're thinking of doing as a, like, it's just a thing for me. Like the way I grew up, the way I was raised, being a quality man, being an outstanding man, to me, that's important. That's the kind of man that I grew up looking up to. I always wanted a home. And I always wanted a woman, whether I have kids or not, who knows? But I always wanted that because I've seen a lot of lonely men and women in my life and it is depressing as fuck. And I've lived with one of my uncles who was a single man in his late 40s. And looking back, I don't want that life. No, thank you. Thank you for the offer, but I can do better. And personally, I want more. Something better than what red pill is selling. I want a proper remedy for my problem, not some medication that's supposed to fix my blood pressure, then gives me a million side effects in the process. So now I gotta take other medication to treat the side effect from the original medication. Like, why? So I went out there and I started looking for something better than red pill. And to this day, I am very grateful that I left red pill because, oh my God, what is this? What is all this? Imagine being a young man watching all this. What does that do to your psyche? How does this get you ready for a relationship with a good woman? And I think the worst part is that a bunch of men my age are watching these videos daily. To me, it just looks like red pillers turning into feminism. They're just as blind as the feminists that they hate. Apparently, they would trash a woman on the podcast or whatever. Like all the audience, the people in the chat would just talk trash, and then they'll go and subscribe to her OnlyFans. Like, come on, man. Is this some kind of fetish or something? Am I missing something? Original Red Pill was telling men to wake up. It was about men protecting themselves from women abusing the system. That was like the best thing for us at the time. We were just like, what? Like, we never knew this was a thing. But also, it was about men protecting themselves and their son from the system. Then pickup artists got into Red Pill, because I remember that time when it was a bunch of pickup artists and a bunch of like dating stuff that got introduced into Red Pill, and it turned into how can you manipulate women to sleep with, and how can you pass the shit test and all these things. And that was another thing that blew our mind, because we were just like, wait, we never knew about all of this. And then eventually you turn into all women are 3 or 4s, and I was like, sorry, what? Wait, what the? Did we not contribute to some of that issue? Did we not maybe kind of like create a bit of that? And in 2023, Red Pill is about pandering to men, pandering to grown men. It's about blaming women by making fun of them, by pointing out to the bad apple and be like, yeah, you see, that's what all women are. And instead of taking accountability and being the real high value, high quality man, that's what Red Pill has turned into.
What is the advantage? Say you're a 31-year-old guy. What advantages are there to dating a 31-year-old woman versus a 21-year-old woman?
I mean, you know how that sounds, right?
Always remember that young boys won't be able to tell the difference until it's too late, because young boys are very impressionable and they don't know yet. A lot of them they don't question things the way I question things, the way I know some people are questioning things. A lot of them are just very impressionable. They would take it and run with it. And I think that's very dangerous. And it kind of reminds me of something else that did the same thing to young women. I wonder what it is. Anyway, I can't remember. Granted, a lot of the women that they will show in these shows and in these videos are not the best batch. I give them that, but still, I think it's dishonest to do something like that. Because let's be honest here, this is some kind of revenge fantasy, right? It's some kind of revenge fantasy for men to kind of see women being embarrassed, women being talked down to. And I think it's some kind of revenge fantasy for men who cannot keep a good woman. And it's pretty much Red Pill copium straight to the vein. And it's bad. Remember how Red Pill used to talk about the risk of marriage, how men should protect themselves from vicious women, how to see through the games women play, things like that. That's what I remember. But there's nothing else to do. There's nothing else new now, right? There's like, it's the same thing is being told over and over. And to me, it's like, well, Red Pill has done its job. But the Red Pill content creator, they want to keep milking that cow. So as new people get into Red Pill, the content creator, they still want to keep it fresh because they have an older audience. Keep in mind, the older audience, the guys would never leave Red Pill. They've been in Red Pill for years and years. At this point, they're desensitized, right? So you need more outlandish stuff to entertain them. If you know about entertainment, you know about YouTube, you know about things like that, you know that the more someone consumes something, the more desensitized it becomes. So you gotta keep it new. So you might have a new audience, but the new audience is not gonna get what you used to do. You have to create something fresh for the old audience, because sometimes the old audience is the best audience. But Red Pill was never about entertainment. It was about telling men to wake up because the system is rigged. That's really what it was about. It's about getting together and fighting unfair family laws, unfair treatment of men in court, unfair treatment of men in the system, in society in general. Do you want to know the biggest reason why I stopped watching Red Pill altogether? I just started reading. No, like seriously, I just started reading books on social skills, psychology, relationship, and even marriage books. And these are some of the books that changed everything for me. Influence by Robert Cialdini. It's a great book. The 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson, and his other book, Beyond Order. They were worth the read, 100%. There's also The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And this marriage book, The 7 Principles of Making Marriage Work by John Gottman. This book helped me a lot when it came to relationship. And the last book, this one that influenced me the most, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. This man's story is so rough, and I shit you not, it is so rough that it will humble me for the rest of my life. So overall, this book taught me a lot. They made me see red pill for what it is, a piece of rock dipped in chocolate. And if you're really hungry, it's going to be the best thing you ever had in your life. But in a few seconds, it will just be a piece of rock in your mouth. Now you have two choices. You can either spit it out or you can keep sucking. And I guess some people just love sucking on rocks. See, one of the things that's barely promoted in red pill is reading book on relationship and marriage, and reading book on psychology and social skills. And to get even deeper, why not promote couple therapy and marriage counseling to men who are struggling with their relationship or their marriage? And I'm not a psychologist, but I would highly recommend you to watch this video by Healthy Gamer GG Dr. K, and he broke it down so well as to why men not only need to go to therapy, but why we fear therapy so much. And I think red pill should be able to promote that. If they truly want men to do better, we need to be able to promote that. Now you might be thinking, well, what does book have to do with red pill? Why does it matter? Well, you gotta understand that men, myself included, we got introduced into red pill because of relationship. We had terrible relationship, we had terrible marriage, and you know, some of us just couldn't get some hot pies. Let's just keep it a box, okay? Listen, I've had a few dry season too, my brother, if you know what I mean.
Now look at you, bitchless, sans beach, as the French in France would say.
So some guys will want to get more, you know, intimate with women, and they will gravitate towards red pill because that's where some of the good content could be. And from my personal experience, reading books on relationship and marriage, it pretty much solved like 80 to 85% of my relationship problem. Because before that, I was not able to have the emotional intelligence, the leadership skill to handle my relationship in a healthy way. See, if you want to attract and keep a good woman, you're not going to learn how to do that from someone who cannot attract and keep a good woman. But keep in mind, even a good woman comes with her flaws, just like everybody, just like you, just like me. And the question is, well, can you deal with that? Can you lead that relationship and overcome the hardship, right? The same way you want her to deal with your flaws, can you deal with hers as well? It goes both ways, right? And that brings us to another issue that I have with red pill, which is the focus on men becoming the leader in a relationship, which I agree with because I'm a fairly traditional man myself. I take care of my woman as a man should, and she takes care of me as a woman should. It's that simple, and it works very well. And in my personal opinion, if men want to be leaders in a relationship, they need to learn how to lead in a relationship. It's not a given. It's a hard-earned skill because leadership should be earned, not given, in any context whatsoever. That being said, I would highly advise men to try this book because they might see life differently. Another thing that made me leave red pill is that I didn't want to live like Rollo. I didn't want to live like Donovan Sharp. I look at Freshnfit right now and I don't want to live like them. Nothing in what they do, the way they conduct themselves, appeals to me as a man. And I guess it's because I've grown. I've found peace, to be honest. I'm at peace right now. That's what I would say at the very least, that I'm at peace. And because I found peace, all I could hear coming from this guy's mouth is pandering and nothing to really give you some sustainable, very valuable advice that's going to help you elevate yourself. A few times here and there, they say something that makes sense and I will find myself agreeing with them. And I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's quite interesting. But I'm sorry, man. Like, you can decorate a piece of shit all you want. It's still a piece of shit. Then there's this channel, which is another thing that made me feel weird, really weird about red pill. These channels that will make these compilation videos with no commentary whatsoever or any decent advice. Sometimes you have someone actually have a commentary in the video, but it's just them kind of reaffirming what's going on in the video. And it's pretty much the worst part of red pill. Well, technically the worst part of red pill is black pill. Maybe these channels are just meaning the demand, because as a YouTuber myself, I kind of understand how this thing goes. YouTubers are going to make videos that people gravitate toward, which means there are a lot of men right now who want these videos. And a lot of these videos, weirdly enough, they have explicit thumbnail because they know that would get views. They think the audience is just a bunch of horny, stupid men who can't resist themselves when they see something remotely sexual on the thumbnail. Which is true because it works, let's be honest, right? Even Rollo and Freshnfit do the same thing. That's the reason why they invite these OnlyFans and Instagram models to have discussion about man and woman relationship. Because if they don't do it, they won't get enough views. It's just sad that some men will let themselves get manipulated by other men who are supposed to help them. And this made me realize that it's not about helping men anymore. Because if it was about helping men, we would try to get men and women together. That's how you help men. That's how you help women. We get together. Because the truth is we cannot do this alone. We need each other. They don't care about that. All this preaching about men should leave the matrix, but then they keep these same men in the matrix of red pill, constantly online, dick riding other men who lives a better life than them. And in the end, that's what it is about. Views, fame, status. And if in the process they accidentally happen to help some man pretty much go from worse to bad, then it's a big W to them. And the reality is men are suffering. They lost the desire to be good men because feminists killed it. That I would agree, right? I don't disagree with everything about red pill. That I would agree. But that doesn't mean that we should follow the path that feminists took, down that path of self-destruction. We can do better. And I truly believe we should do better. I'm gonna keep it short so you can carry on with your life because I respect your time. And to be honest, we both got bills to pay. So in conclusion, I think red pill is not red pill anymore. The manosphere is just at this point a bootleg version of feminism, and it's toxic. It used to help, not anymore. Just like feminism. It hurts to say that. But for the sake of making this video a bit less negative, what I want to do is I truly want to thank the men who hold it down and they keep it real 24/7. They stay positive as much as they can despite all the nonsense. And I see a little bit of that in myself. I see a little bit of that in my friends. These are the guys that are always down to do their best and they're always down to help other people. They're some of the most respectful, the most kind, some of the most virtuous men I ever met in my life. Men like them are the reason why the world is not burning. Honestly, seriously. And I've met a lot of outstanding men in my life. They made me realize that hanging on to pain, hanging on to anger, hanging on to bitterness is just not the way. And to this day, I walk their walk. Because these guys, to me, were the real example of a masculine, high-value man.